Yes, good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the channel. This is the starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's home game against Hibs. We return to Scottish Premiership action after that trip to Belgrade in the 1-1 draw with Red Star during the week. I think the first half performance was short of where it should have been. I think even after the game, Brendan Rodgers said he would still like us to be a bit better. And I think second half we were better. For 10-15 minutes we really put Red Star under pressure. We got the goal. Kelechi Iheanacho had a great impact on the game. We created chances. We forced their goalkeeper into 2 or 3 really good saves. Poor goal to lose though from the set piece from the corner kick in the sort of second phase, if you like, because it gets a flick and then goes to the byline. There's a cutback. Arnautovic manages to wrestle free Carter Vickers. So always put those a goal for a set piece. I think you could look at it second half and say, is that a game that we could have gone and won? Maybe similar in some ways to the Zagreb game in the Champions League last season. Not as many chances in that game. There was barely any clear-cut chances in that 0-0 draw in Zagreb. But you just came away with the feeling that, yes, it's a point away from home that you can reflect on and say, listen, Celtic away from home in Europe, you take a point at a difficult venue, but you have that feeling like we could have won the game if we were maybe at a bit of a higher level, maybe a wee bit further down the line. And those opportunities to win away from home in Europe for Celtic don't come along all too often. But it was a point, and like I say, we return to league action against Hibs tomorrow. Hibs, from their point of view, have had a bit of an indifferent start to the season. They haven't won in the league since the first game of the season away against Dundee. They've had 4 draws since then. They haven't won in any of their last 5 matches in all competitions. They had the late exits in both of the Europa League qualifier and then the Conference League qualifier as well. So I think the perception around Hibs is that they've maybe been performing okay, but the results haven't really reflected that. So it does represent a tough test for us. As I say, we're not quite at our best level yet either, so I expect us to have to play well tomorrow. And of course, off the pitch, there's going to be the next stage in the fan protests, which the Celtic Fan Collective have decided will be a silent protest for 12 minutes, the first 12 minutes of the game tomorrow against Hibs. You can let us know what you think of that course of action in the comments. I can understand why they've decided to take that as the next step of protest while the silence from the board continues. Again, everybody is free to make their own decision whether they take part in it or not. You can still celebrate a goal. That's not what a silent protest is about. It's about not singing and not generating the noise that you usually associate in general play. So we'll see how that one pans out. I know that loads of people may well disagree with it, but let's face it, a domestic game at Celtic Park is quite quiet at the best of times, so I don't think it's too much of a leap to go to a silent protest, because outside of the ultras groups there's not a whole lot of singing in your average run-of-the-mill domestic game anyway. So we'll turn our attention then to the lineup for tomorrow. Again, I think Brendan Rodgers got some big decisions to make. I think that the second half performance was so much better than the first half during the week, and I think there's some areas of the pitch that he hasn't rotated quite as much so far, but I think that there needs to be some changes, and I think he just needs to freshen things up, because we can't go through the motions, and I think that's maybe what some players in different positions are doing at the minute. So in goals, I expect it to be Kasper Schmeichel. Back 4, Donovan to keep his place. Again, that's 3 games now. That was the toughest one for him during the week away from home in Europe. He stood up and performed really well. Again, can't fault him so far. I think that he's doing his chances of moving up the pecking order as well. The world of good, and I think it's encouraging to see a young player come in, take his chance the way he has been doing so far, and long may that continue. Carter Vickers and Scales at centre half, who I think both of them defended well at times the other night. I think in the first half we did allow maybe one too many chances for Red Star, but second half I think we defended well. I think they were aggressive, and again, you can look at it defensively. Even though we gave up those chances, that we did manage to come away with a point, and right at the dying embers of the game, we went under huge huge pressure, but neither did we put Red Star under pressure, incidentally. But left back Tierney, I think, again, played well the other night. He got good forward positions. He had a lovely cutback for Nygren, where Nygren really should have scored. So I think the signs are getting better for Kieran. I think getting those 90 minutes at Thistle under his belt would have helped him, and I think trying to put together some good performances now. Hopefully he can do 90 minutes tomorrow. I know Sriracha came on during the week, but hopefully he can get 90 minutes under his belt again tomorrow. I know we've got a lot of games coming up now. We've got Braga during the week, and then again back to domestic duties with Motherwell at home next weekend. So this is where the games start coming thick and fast, and there's international breaks in each month as well through until the end of November. So there's going to be challenges for him, and I think Brendan Rodgers will have to pick and choose the games that he starts, but I'd like to see him do another 90 minutes just to try and get that consistency and his condition up. Midfield, this is an area where I think Brendan Rodgers does have a lot of thinking to do, because in some of the big games this season, I don't think the midfield has performed and functioned very well. There's no doubt you expect Callum McGregor to lead the team tomorrow. I think Hatate had a really difficult night, particularly first half. I think in the first half, he looked like he was going through the motions. We talked about this in the full-time reaction. A bit lackadaisical at times, loose on the ball, gave it away. Not a huge amount of intensity in his backtracking runs either. So I think I'm going to go with Engels. We've seen Hatate come out. I think if you think back to last season after these European games, we did see some changes. We've seen a lot of changes actually from time to time, and it's going to be interesting to see if Brendan Rodgers keeps that same sort of rhythm with the rotation that he had round this time last season, because there was a lot of changes from game to game. I know it was the Champions League last season. You can argue about the quality and intensity being different in Europa League, but still minutes in the players' legs, and I think Engels might come in tomorrow. Nygren, I'm just going with to keep his place. He had a really key part in that first goal, and I don't expect there to be, I think one out of the three might change in midfield. I don't expect two or three of them to change. So again, Nygren, I thought poor first half, better second half, lovely run, nice dribbling ability to get in there and thread the ball through to Kelechi. So again, I think there's still maybe question marks about his speed in the game, maybe against the ball at times as well. He's a big physical presence, but I'd like to see him use that more aggressively against the ball at times. But I think you can tell that he's got quality, and that was a really good assist that he got the other night. Front three, I'm putting Forrest in again. I put him in during the week, got it wrong. It was Yang. I can't think that Yang will start this game tomorrow as well, because I don't think you can look at his performance on Wednesday and say that he should definitely stay in the team. That's a problem area for us, because Brendan Rodgers clearly doesn't trust James Forrest to be starting game after game after game at this age. And with Yang's output so far, he's also not in the position where you can hang your hat on him performing. So we know the right hand side's a big issue for us, but I expect James Forrest to come back in and replace Yang tomorrow. Tenekte on the left hand side, who I think was good. I think he grew in the game on Wednesday in Belgrade. I think he had that lovely run first half where he carried the ball at the pitch, cut inside the fullback, tried to thread a wee pass in behind the centre half down the channel for Hatate. It was just a wee bit short, the pass, but I think he grew in the second half. A constant threat. We were trying to get the ball to him in wide areas where he could square up his fullback and take him on, and I think it was another positive outing for him. So I think he, at this minute in time, is undroppable. I think he is one of the players who you look at and have a semblance of excitement about when you're watching Celtic at the minute, and I think that means he needs to stay in the team as often as possible. And I'm going for a first league start for Kelechi Iheanacho through the middle. I think his impact on the game was very good during the week. I think you can tell he's got quality. We knew he had quality. He's played at a high level all of his career, but there was just doubts about his condition and where he was at in his career, and I think he has ended up in a strange place, and that's why Sevilla ended up releasing him, and he's come to us as a free agent, but he's still got ability, and I think that touch and finish shows you the how important the instinct of a natural striker, a natural goal scorer is, because he just took the touch out of his feet, turned on it, and he knew exactly where the goal was. I think Dyson's performance during the week was concerning in that first half, where his head's at we don't know. But again, he, like Hatate, I think, is one who looks like he's going through the motions because he's probably come to the end of his cycle at Celtic. And I think there's going to be movement there in the next transfer window with Dyson, possibly with Hatate as well. But I think Dyson, given how the summer transfer window finished for him, may well be on the way out the door in January. It's just going to be difficult to try and get his head in the right place where he can perform the way he has been doing for Celtic, because I think a couple of the ones where he's caught offside, he's not coming back quick enough. That's not really the sort of intensity you associate with Dyson throughout his Celtic career. So I'm going for Kelechi to start tomorrow. Hopefully he can get on the score sheet again, keep building his confidence, keep building his condition. But I have been impressed by him, and there's no doubt he's a good player. And again, I think we are so lacking in a good quality striker that you see the difference in the whole team's performance, particularly in the forward areas when we're trying to build attacks. When you have a proper striker in there, it makes such a difference. So that is the 11 I think Brendan Rodgers will pick tomorrow. Maybe with Engels in there, I'm just throwing in one that I think a change I would maybe make, rather than really believing Brendan Rodgers will do that. But I would like to see some sort of change in midfield. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. And I'll see you tomorrow with the full-time reaction after the game outside the ground and the post-match pint from Malone's as well. Thank you for watching.